Support for the Klyph Notes podcast comes from Acapella Apparel, an idea born from a love of hip-hop, funk, and soul music and its surrounding cultures. With fashion being a huge visual part of the cultures, they've created expressive images to pay homage, invoke nostalgia, and showcase the elements that make up the lifestyle and cultures of these genres. Acapella, apparel for the music lifestyle. For more information, check out acapella.com. That's AKEPELE.com. 1 2 1 2. Yes, y'all. We back again, man. It's another episode of Klyph Notes with your guy DJ Klyph. This is the podcast you can catch wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Music, I guess it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, or just go to the website djklyph.com. And it's just a cool opportunity to connect and chop it up with pretty amazing people, man. Artists and individuals making a difference in their community. So, listen, subscribe, like, share, do all of that. We've had some pretty dope episodes recently, man. Had an opportunity to chat with my man DJ Sneakers, Versatile, Lifesavers, Cool Nuts, Win, the artist formerly known as Luck One. There's a whole bunch of them, man. So if you haven't checked out some of the past episodes, be sure to check those out. But I'm pretty psyched about this one, man. This one is we just really gonna get into it, man. But before I talk y'all ears off, let them know who you are, Cat.
1 2 1 2, reporting live. This is Señor Kaos, ATL's finest MC, marketer, cultural influencer.
That's what's up, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful, man. How are you?
Bro, I can't complain, man. I can't complain. All right, so from jump right off top, B. I always got to give respect where respect is due, right? So it was probably, I don't even know, man. It was probably like 6 months ago. It was at the White Eagle, Mic Check.
Yep.
And you had come through a couple times, and then you came through, introduced yourself,
Yeah.
and said, what's up? Said, I MC, woo, got your name, and was like, word, I'm going to check your stuff out. I was slipping, Cat, right? Fast forward a couple months, and my homie Starchild was like, yo, you heard this joint? And I remember which one it was. And he sent me the Bandcamp link.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull it up because I gotta do you right. I pulled up the Bandcamp link, listened to it, and I was like, what? Right? So I was like, who is this? Señor Kaos. Wait a minute, he's in Portland. Jumped back on the Bandcamp, started going through the catalog, bruh.
Yeah.
I was like, man,
thank you, man.
Bow down, bro. I had to apologize for slipping, bro.
It's all good, man. I appreciate it. You
For
even
sure.
taking the time to going through and checking out the catalog, because that's what it's there for.
No doubt, bro.
No.
Okay, so let's go back just a tiny bit. So you said it in the intro, man. Atlanta's finest.
Yes, sir.
So that's home?
Yeah, ATL is home.
That's what's up, bro. So how long you been in Portland?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it went by fast.
Yeah. Well, when you're in a beautiful place like the Northwest. It's nuts, bro, because when I listen to your music, so you've been doing this for a minute.
A while.
Yeah,
Yes. A short minute, yeah.
And had you got a solid following down south, man. When I started reading and doing research, like you was doing your thing in Atlanta, bruh.
Yeah, I started making music in high school.
Okay, word.
And a guy I went to school with was a DJ, or aspiring to be a DJ or whatnot, and he started making mixtapes, and he had, we're talking, so he had the karaoke machine with the mic from Radio Shack, and hooked the turntables up to that, and then I would just come over and just rap over the beats, and that was really kind of my first introduction with anything recorded.
Gotcha.
Before that was just, ciphers and MC battles and the whole nine. But we started selling those mixtapes, and I would sell them at school.
Oh, word.
I can't say I sold a whole lot of them, but I sold some. But it's how I kind of started building up my name and as an MC. Yeah. And then in high school, man, it was, that was an era where it was all about battling.
Right.
And it was all these different battles that were out, and you had 106 in Park, and the Blaze battle, and all these big things. And we had one in Atlanta called Resurrection.
Okay.
and there was another one called MC Wars. A few things, but I started getting in those, and just freestyle battling cats, and it helped what build my name up before there was ever any music that was around or out or available to be purchased or whatnot. And from there it just became about doing as much as I could. And the thing about Atlanta is we get the credit for what we do commercially, as we should. It's a lot of beautiful artists coming out of the city that blow up and that got the clubs rocking. But people don't necessarily understand that there's another side of the city, which is it's the underground. And it's guys like me and Clandestine and Binkus Records and all these other people who have come out of the city that we still proud to be from Atlanta, and we love the same thing that the other guys love. We go to the same places they go, but musically we're just on a different way. We hear things differently, and what we want to put out to the world is different.
Yeah, that's what's up. It's funny because before I made the Northwest home, I was in New Orleans.
Yeah,
and I moved to New Orleans from the Northeast, right?
Okay.
So I have an ear for that for the Northeast sound. Really have an ear for the Northeast sound. But I was living in New Orleans and celebrating what was happening in the city, and then I started hearing production out of Atlanta. I mean, and everything R&B. So Babyface and them, Dallas Austin.
Yeah.
And then I heard Organized Noise.
Yeah.
And I was like,
boom.
Right. So for me, that was always that Atlanta sound. You know what I mean? And sort of that sense of the southern hip hop sound. When I listen to your art, to me it feels like it has that East Coast sensibility to it, though.
Yep.
I mean, and I think that's probably why when I heard it for the first time, I connected so well. So I figured, then listen to your music, realize Atlanta, but I figured like you probably moved to Atlanta when you was like 15, 16, because you sound so East Coast, B, so East Coast.
I did live up north for a little while when I was a kid, but I think where that comes from is more than kind of living somewhere else. It's my father was a DJ.
Word.
My father was a DJ like late 70s, early 80s, up north. And so my introduction to hip hop was through him.
Gotcha.
So all he played was New York records.
Yeah.
So it was LL Cool J and Run DMC and all these different artists. So that's what I came up on. So when I started making music, it's like when you're a kid and you had a mic and you're in the mirror and you're imitating LL or whoever, that's what you want to be like, an emulate or whatnot. So when it came time for me to start making music, that's the direction that I went in, because all I knew was boom bap. And then I knew booty shake, and that was and for those that don't like, booty shake was what the music was in Atlanta, bass music or booty shake music, whatever you want to call it. That was the sound in Atlanta at the time. That was the Freaknik era and the club era. So it was kind of like you either made that or you did something else. But Outkast and Goody opened that lane, because they came out in Atlanta, and like you said, when you listen to Organized Noise, it wasn't anything about it that was Southern. It was just good hip hop. And they kind of ushered in a lane for people to say, you know what, I'm from the South, but I'm lyrical.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't have to be ashamed of that.
Yeah.
And I think that truly kind of ushered in the era of kind of what the underground of Atlanta became. Because I think before that, it didn't necessarily have an identity. And when you had those guys that were repping for your city, and you're like, okay, they're into some of the stuff I'm in, like lyrically and bars and spitting, and it provided an opportunity for somebody like me to come up and say, well, I don't have to make bass music. I don't have to do trap, which didn't exist, or street music or whatever. It's like, nah, I could be lyrical and still be from here. So it's a beautiful thing.
That's what's up, bro. You also mentioned in your intro, not only artistry, but also marketing. I mean, you really kind of did it all. Which is kind of cool. That's the piece I don't really know a whole lot about, though, in terms of the marketing promotion piece. Was
Yeah.
that related to what you and your crew were doing? What was that?
Nah, man, it was related to paying these bills.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I got you.
The thing was, I wanted, when I was really young, and I'm talking like, I don't say really young, college.
Yeah.
I still had aspirations of being in the music industry in terms of like major label wise. But one of the things I wanted to do was, like I said, I can't be in something that I don't know what it's about.
Right.
So I was fortunate enough through a guy who was out there at the time, who was a rep for one of the labels. I started working with him.
Okay.
And through that work, kind of built up my name on that side. So people started to know me as a guy who was pushing records. So I worked for Interscope for a while, and Capitol Records and Violator. During the time was 50, Missy, Busta, Chingy's first album on Capitol. Like, I was there for all of those things. And for me, it was like the opportunity to learn the business of music.
Yeah.
Because you hear all these stories, like you watch the unsungs.
Right.
And it's like, this artist got jerked, that artist got jerked.
Yeah.
And then, from Atlanta, his TLC was a big one. It was like, yo, y'all sold gazillion records. What you mean y'all broke? Right. So just seeing all that stuff growing up and getting into music. And I think my mother was worried a little too, because she saw the same thing. Like, yo, all these artists are broke.
Yeah.
Like, what you gonna do different? So I started working within the music industry to learn the business of it. And to be honest, the more I learned the business of it, the more I realized that there was some things that weren't there for me as an artist. But what I realized is that there was still an opportunity to make some money.
Yeah.
So I capitalized off that and worked in the industry for a while. And then the industry shifted, of course, when, Serato came out and labels start pressing vinyl, and, checks started getting shorter. And so I transitioned. I realized I had this talent for just connecting things and exposing people to things that they may not have known about, which is essentially is marketing, is, connecting brands and consumers. And, excuse me. So I started doing that, and I didn't do it on purpose. I think that's the thing a lot of people don't get. Like, I didn't go to school for this. I want to do that when I grow up. None of that. Like, literally, I just fell into it through the love of the music, and just meeting the right people and, grinding, work my ass off. And there was a magazine out in Atlanta called Frank 151, which is a small little magazine. They give it out for free. And it was out there in a time, and they were getting a little larger and starting to get a little more money. So they wanted to shift the magazine to New York. Yeah. And when they moved to New York, I was still in Atlanta, but I was kind of helping out in Atlanta. And, they started to grow and started to get bigger sponsorships or whatnot. And I started, piggybacking off of that. Oh, y'all working with such and such? Hey, how can I help out around here? What y'all doing in Atlanta? Right. And that started opening different doors, man. And I did brand marketing for a bunch of brands through the 2000s, and did stuff with Scion for a while, and EA Sports, and Red Bull, and Nike, and the whole thing. So it's been a beautiful journey. But through that whole time, like, I've always made music. Sometimes more frequently, and sometimes a lot less, depending on what I'm working on and what I'm doing. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, because people know me through different avenues. Yeah. There's people who know me through things I've done with work and within the marketing industry that have no idea I make music. Yeah. And then vice versa. Yeah. There's people who know me strictly through the music and then have no idea what I'm doing the other time when they don't hear the music.
Right. Which is cool. I mean, in a sense, it creates balance. Knowing that there is an underground and a commercial scene, I think for the first time I feel like I have a different view of it, a different understanding of it, because you make a great point, bro. Like, oftentimes I think we look at the underground as artists are grinding, trying to create an audience until they can get on, but that's not always the case. Like, like, maybe that's like you said, that's not. I don't want to go that route. Like, this is my audience. This is where I want to be at.
Yeah, absolutely. It's different. You got to think, people who are looking for, major label success or fame or whatnot, if you're going to go that route, then you're going to be an entertainer.
Right.
And then there is every 4 years we get a guy who's one of us that cuts through. You know, that guy was Lupe once upon a time, and that guy's Kendrick now.
Right.
Like every few years you get one guy who cuts through, and you're like, yo, he represents us.
Right.
And he's able to do the commercial thing, but still keep himself whole. But if you're not that dude, everything, it's not much there for you. So I made a conscious decision. Like once I learned the business and learned all the nuances of it and learned what was for me and wasn't for me, I learned that, hey, I can make a living over here on my own terms. And a lot of that is being stubborn as well, and get that from my pops. Like, hey, why do I have to play by your rules when I could just make my own? And as technology advanced, because when I started making music, we just had CD burners. And you had to sit there and burn your own CD one by one. Then the thing came out where you could get the stickers from Office Depot and you could put the stickers on them, but you still had to sit there and do it. And technology's advanced, but it still allows you a platform to do things on your own. And you have, everything's digital now, right? So you got iTunes and Bandcamp and Spotify and all these avenues. You can make music and not have to press all the CDs and just put it, direct to consumer. So once you have that, it makes it even easier for guys to be independent. Now you see where we're at, where we never thought we would be. You got a guy like Chance, who's, successful and still independent and has all of the looks and the success that other major label artists have on his own. And, it's tougher 10 years ago, 15 years ago, et cetera. But I think with that, you'll see more people like that. And you'll see more people who, as they become more aware, like, because now everything's 360 deals. Like, why would I want one of those? I could do this myself. So it's a good era to be in, and it's good to see people and the youth, kind of create their own movements.
No doubt. When listening to your music, it's I think another reason that I take to it so much is the fact that you're a lyricist, but content. I mean, I think that's one of the things that really stands out. Your music is it's crazy because your music is, to a great extent, I'd say, uplifting. What you share, but it's also easy to see that you like don't mess with me on the mic because I will crush you. You know what I mean? You could tell that you battle.
Yeah.
Little things, bro. Like even in your ad libs, you be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't just get the turn to speak up. Turn my mic up. You don't get that. Like even in your ad libs, you can tell just how you flow. The when you were in Atlanta, from what I could tell, a lot of stuff that you did, not a lot, but some of the stuff you did with crew. So when you with crew that you push one another in a positive way.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're gonna come, you got to come correct.
Yeah.
Being here in Portland now, and I guess I should ask this question first. You've been here for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Kind of got out, seen some some live shows.
Just a few. Yeah.
How would you? And you mentioned it a little bit. Similar, smaller market. Atlanta's much bigger now, but at one point, smaller market. What's your assessment of the Portland scene based on what you've had an opportunity to see?
Portland reminds me a little of Atlanta in a sense of the underground. Like you guys have an underground scene here that if you're not tapped into, you can completely miss it, completely be just oblivious to it. And Atlanta's kind of like that in a way too, because there's so much commercial music. There's Jeezy and T.I. and this, that, the third. And if you're not really aware, that you would just miss me and some of the other guys. And I think Portland's the same way. But it's kind of weird to me because I think coming here, like I expected, especially on the West Coast, because I feel it happens a lot more like south of here. Like the Bay has like this huge scene. And when you go there, you hear Bay Area artists on commercial radio. Right. And you may not hear them anywhere else in the state or, anywhere else, but in that city you hear it. And I kind of thought that would be the same here. And I hear some of it through some of the radio shows that happen, the specialty shows. But I think it's dope, man. And I'm waiting to see kind of what happens here, how it evolves more. Because it's definitely some talent here.
Yeah. it's been interesting for me. So again, not being a Portland native, but being a curator, having an opportunity to, especially with platforms like Klyph Notes,
Yeah.
interview cats who are from Portland, came up in Portland, cats who I'm a fan of, and to hear the stories and you understand that there's been for years this rich scene here, but it has been not necessarily recognized. And I think for a lot of reasons, I think especially when you think of the genre of hip hop, a genre that's historically created by and embraced by people of color.
Yep.
And Portland being a place where people of color are in the minority. So I think that that's a part of it.
I was just about to say, man, Portland feels like the city feels like they don't care as much for hip hop.
Yeah.
And I think that will always be hard on the artists, on the creators who are here trying to come up within that.
Yeah.
Whereas, some other cities, I feel like the city, you can think of Oakland or Atlanta or some of those cities, they recognize it, they respect it, and then they create avenues for it. And maybe that's happening here too that I haven't seen, but, from the outside looking in and just for somebody who's just been here for a short period of time, it seems like if hip hop disappeared from Portland, I don't think the city of Portland would even care.
Yeah. And it's definitely changing. So I've been here for just over 20 years. And I think in part you get to see it because you have the number of people who are moving into the area from other places who are like, man, at home we have this. Let me try to bring that, or just bring myself to Portland. And with that comes an understanding of the culture, and I'm in a position where I can help promote that. And so you're seeing labels come up and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I think you have people who are also in better positions, like Star Child and OG1, and Cool Nuts, who sat down with the city and said, hey, we're here. How can we work together?
Yeah.
And you have events like
Portland Hip Hop Day. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think on some levels you see it changing, especially, and right before you got here, there was a lot of, I think it was 3 years ago. No, from 4 years ago. I mean, there was a lot of public angst between the city and the Portland hip hop scene.
Got you.
It was a real blessing to see that turning.
It's shifting, yeah.
That's that level.
That's definitely a blessing.
Okay, so going back, now I'm going through your catalog, running through, and I realized that it's funny too, because I realized that there was one joint of yours that I had been playing, and I didn't realize it was you.
Word.
So you did a joint with Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yep.
And you mentioned Run DMC, man. I mean, I'm an old head, so huge Run DMC fan.
Yeah.
So when I saw y'all cover that joint, I've been playing it, just didn't even realize. You know what I'm saying? Didn't make the connect. But Jeff, running down the list of artists that you've collabed with, people who I'm just huge fan of Homeboy Sandman.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Producers that you've worked with, like, it's so, again, I think for me, becoming a fan of your art, it just makes sense because I'm a fan of all of these people. I mean, you're in that lane with all these people that that I've been a fan of for a minute. You mentioned it a bit ago, sort of depending on where you're at in life, where you're at in terms of releasing music.
Yeah.
Just released a new joint.
Yep. Dead Stock,
which is cool. First joint you've released in 2 years.
Yep.
Yep. Is that just a little something you throwing out there?
Yeah.
You working on a.
Yeah. Nah, that's Dead Stock is just something I threw out there.
Yeah.
And hence the name, because in the world of sneaker culture, like Dead Stock refers to sneakers that have yet to been worn, and it's kind of a braggadocious thing when you say, man, I got so many sneakers, I ain't even wore these yet, right? So it's kind of the same thing for me with music, with rhyme books. Yeah. Like, I have so many verses that have yet to be recorded, so many songs that have yet to be released. Yeah. So it was really kind of a piece of that. E. Jones did the beat, and heard it, and was listening to a bunch of his beats, and I didn't get through all of them. I got to that one, and I kept rewinding it, and I was like, I'm writing to this.
Yeah.
and so it was a mix. The reason why I called it Dead Stock, because it was a mix of old and new. Like some of those lines were things that I had that were just in a rhyme book that just nobody ever heard, and then I mixed that with just some new things of where I'm at now in my life, and spoke on a few of those things, and that's how the record came to be. Yeah.
That's what's up, bro. And then like even the artwork is nice.
Yeah.
Who did the artwork on that?
Mr. Mind.
Okay.
DJ Mr. Mind in Atlanta. It's crazy. Mr. Mind, he's a DJ. He is an engineer, records music, and he's a graphic designer.
A word.
Yeah. Yeah, wears a few hats and he's dope.
Yeah. In terms of crew, Atlanta crew, obviously crew is crew forever. Any plans on doing work on recording with your Atlanta crew?
It's always, the opportunity is always there, and they put out more stuff than I do.
Yeah.
They stay cooking and stay collabing, because it's so many opportunities where it's just like, we just went out to eat. Come back to the spot. Let's record this joint. So they stay moving. I'm trying to catch up and get back on some joints. I'm over here like, hey, don't forget, I'm on the West Coast, but don't forget about me. But yeah, 4 Hours is my guy, and we have some stuff that's yet to be heard. And so we've been talking about some things, and I'm trying to think of just even the stuff the crew's done. It's just people haven't heard yet, because people get real particular about putting out music, and that's kind of hard when you're working with people. Me and my guy Dylan Mauer is another MC from Atlanta. He just put out a project with Diamond D.
We've been playing. I've been playing that joint, the horns joint. What's it called? I'm gonna look for it. in a minute. But that joint right there,
Dylan's nice,
bruh.
Dylan's nice. So me and him, like a while back, we were actually working on a project, and we recorded a few joints, and we couldn't. Like, all right, this the one. We couldn't even agree on like which one, and then I go back and listen to it now. I'm like, man, all these joints is bangers. Like we was being too picky. Like, we can't put that one because this. And you listen to it, you're like, man, these are all bangers. So who knows, man? It's so much music around. But I typically, I record on my own schedule. But it all comes down to production. I don't like writing without beats. So when I hear a beat, that's the one. That's when I really start going in. So if I don't have no beats, then I typically write less.
So been here for a couple of years, like you said, kind of got out a little bit, made some connects. It's been a blessing for me, bro, to have, built with a lot of artists, MCs, writers, producers. I could link you with some producers, B.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna say
met a couple, need to just kidnap them and sit down. Trox, you know what I'm saying?
It's Diesel, baby.
Yeah, it's I know some cats out here got that fire because I showed up to one of the beat battles and I heard it. Now I just need to get some time on the calendar.
I'm a name drop. I probably should name drop. I'm gonna leave people out. Trox, Theory Has It, Stuart Villain.
I heard some of his. I think he was at the battle, one of the battles.
Yeah. I mean, the list goes on, man. So many dope producers, and I think that's been one of the cool things is a lot of producers have been getting love even outside of the city, which is cool to see.
Always.
Let the Horns Blow. That's the joint from Black Tie Affair. That's the project with Dylan and Diamond D.
Yeah.
That Let the Horns Blow joint gets major airplay on Welcome to the Neighborhood. Real quick, I got to give a big shout out to my folk over at Acapella Apparel, man. You can grab one of them stickers, man.
Yeah,
I'm rocking one of the tees. I got on the Magnificent Dynamic, super dope.
Out of sight
tee, man. They got some pretty crazy material over there. So big ups to Acapella Apparel for their support of the podcast. I was trying to remember the name of the joint. Girls Rock 2.
Yeah,
bruh. See, that's what I'm saying, man. Content, you definitely got style, you got skills. You got and you talk about see even that, bro. You even talk about that. It's not just about the swag, right? You got to have the substance.
Yep.
And that the Girls Rock 2 joint I love so much because I think it's an ode to women that we don't always get, especially in our genre.
Yep.
You know, women I don't think get uplifted as much as they should. And you really went in on that track, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Man, that was a while ago, but it was. I'm trying to remember kind of how it came about. That was around the time where the Don Imus situation happened at Rutgers, and that was big news at the time. And Oprah had all of these people on her show. I think Diddy and Nelly and whoever, and it was this whole discussion in hip hop, and that was really kind of my expression of what was going on at the time. Just saying, you know what, there's people out here who respect what women have provided to our culture, and especially what Black women have provided to our culture, and people are saying we don't hear that enough in rap music. I mean, all right, well, I'm gonna make a song about it then, and maybe somebody else will hear this and they'll make their own version of whatever, and hopefully we can get this thought back into the consciousness of people to understand, like, not all of us are out here on this thing. 'Cause that's the problem with rap and with hip hop in general. A lot of us get lumped in to stuff we're not even involved with, and it got to the point with me, especially as I got older, like it's almost like you don't want to tell somebody you're a rapper, you're an MC, because they automatically like, oh, you do drugs and you're negative and you shoot people, and you're like, nah, actually I don't do any of that. I read books and travel and eat healthy and run and make music that I think is dope. And so that record kind of came out of that, and then I released a project kind of after that, which was called like Swagger is Nothing, Talent is Everything. And that just came from everything I do really comes at, when you go back and listen to songs, you can kind of think about what's happening at that time. But when I made that project, that was just like the super swagger era. That was like I'm from Atlanta, so that was the young LA era. And guys were just like, everything was, I'm wearing this, and it just became all about the look and the aesthetic, and not about the music. And people's swag, in a sense, was getting them by. It was like, but wait, you're not even dope. And people are saying, well, he ain't have to be dope, he got swag. I'm like, wait. So I grew up once again in an era where people had swagger, but they also had talent. You look at Big Daddy Kane, you look at
the name that comes to mind for sure.
You look at Rakim, like all these guys, Nas, like all these guys had style, they had swagger, but they also had talent. And I felt like that was a piece that was getting lost on kind of my contemporaries, other guys who were around at the time in that era. So that's where that project came from, and where the name came from, and sparked a lot of debate, man. It actually went a little further than I thought it would at the time, because people either loved it or hated it, and why are you saying this, and are you talking about this person? So it created a lot of dialogue, and Girls Rock 2 created a lot of dialogue. And I always say, man, that was a record I was pitching to BET hard. They showed me no love, and then shortly after popped up with the show. So we always put them on blast for it, because we like, come on, man, we know y'all heard the record, because we was pushing it hard on y'all, and y'all ain't giving no love, but at least they popped up with a show after, and in support of Black women. And so that's what the underground does. That's what we always do. We don't necessarily get a lot of credit a lot of times, but I think a lot of times we spark the thoughts that people on other levels kind of take and run with and use their platform. And for a lot of us, you just have to be cool with that, because that's kind of a part of how things are. It's like people don't know what they can't see, but if somebody sees it from there and they take it and they have the platform, then they're able to bring it to the people.
Word up. For folk who maybe are hearing this interview but haven't yet got into your catalog yet, what's a good starting point? SeñorKaos.com is KAOS. .com. So that's my site where everything is housed. You can stream it, you can purchase it. Support the artist.
You know what I'm saying? You can purchase that joint, debit card, credit card, whatever you got. EBT. So that's the best place right now to catch the music. And my last album is on there as well, which is called The Chaos Effect. So yeah, it's a lot of music on there to digest and go through. So take your time, bookmark it, and go back through that thing and take your time with it and digest it.
Yeah, I mean, and that is one of the cool things is that there is so much content. There's so much content audibly. There's visuals out there too. You
Yeah.
know, I've been checking out some of the visuals on YouTube, some of the videos that you
Videos,
shot.
yeah. I don't have as many videos because I was broke, so it's
feel you, brother.
videos start getting expensive. You like, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's some joints out there.
It's always nice to be able to put those two together for sure. If you were to, if everything were to line up and you had, you know, a solid 6 months right now, somebody said, look, I got you for 6 months. We're just gonna put like life on hold, 6 months, go in the studio, boom.
Ooh.
Right? What would you, when you came out of there, what would you have? What would it look like? Collabos, you know, subject matter, like where are you at right now in that creative?
Yeah, if I'm in the lab for 6 months, it would look like a lot of music because I get through songs quickly in the lab. And that comes from paying for studio time out your own pocket. Was never able to go in the studio and just play around. I went in and it's like already rehearsed it. We good. But now if I went in the lab now, it would be it wouldn't be a lot different from where I've been in the past in a sense, because you got things that are always going on politically, socially, economically, and then you always have your spirit and your you know, braggadocious, you know, attitude and those things that's always going to come to life in the music. So it's always going to be some bars where I'm just having fun. It's going to be some things in there hopefully that make you chuckle or make you, you know, he said, oh, okay, I get, you know, hopefully some of those nuances. And I typically like to, like you mentioned earlier, always have something within the content as well. And have some lines in there that somebody could listen to and say, I didn't think about it like that. And it would be a mix of all of that, man. There's so much going on in the world right now, like so much. It feels like more than anything ever in my lifetime. You know, good and bad, just things that are happening right now, just across the world, and issues people are going through, and they've always been there, but it just seems like now, and I don't know if that's because, you know, the outlets that we have, or social media that we have, that you hear about more. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and as always, when you think of art, whether that's visual art or whether that's music or whether that's people do it with t-shirts or with fashion, you always kind of try to express your frustrations. That's what hip-hop was born of. So if I was in a lab, it would be a lot of that. And then, you know, I think the people I work with is it typically hasn't been much different. Like I work with people that I'm cool with. I work with people that I meet and we have a similar vibe, or we see things, you know, in the same way, in the same point of view, and we want to get after things. So it will probably be a lot of that. And hopefully I'll be able to tap back and you know, get something from Jazzy Jeff and get something from some cats man, Jeff is incredible. Like illustrate, like, you know, I'm still where he's supposed to be. Illa, man, where the beats at, man? Where the beats at, man? Hit my email. But yeah, man, it's so many talented people out there, and you know, like you just mentioned, even producers. You know, I would love to work with some new cats who are up and coming, have a different sound, have a different vibe. But yeah, man, we got to keep the music going. And that's the thing that keeps me motivated, just knowing that there's people out there who get something from it. And if I felt like nobody got nothing from it, I wouldn't make it. But when you meet people and you see how different songs affect their lives, and you hear people saying, oh, you know, I was introduced to your music, which made me be introduced to this person's music, and now I'm a huge fan of that person, and then I heard you on a song with such and such, and I started following them, and I just love what they post on Instagram because it's inspiring. So you know, whether you know it or not, like you're affecting people's lives. So that's what we're here to do. I put it out on social media. I just saw that. I'm starting a movement, B. I need to get you and Versatile on the track. Let's do together, it, bro. For real. Let's do it. I looked at my man page, like he got mad low garments. Yeah, let's do it. Versatile, what up? You know, one of the other
kind of just what you said, one of the other blessings of having all these different platforms is, being able to connect people differently. So, we building an interview area right now.
Yeah.
Right. Just, just this part. We're going to schedule the radio piece coming up. You know what I mean?
Let's do that.
And then one of the other things as I was sort of doing my research, bruh, people say you nice on the stage, B.
Yeah,
so you got a nice stage show.
I'm all right. For sure.
You know what I mean?
I need to make something happen in Portland, man. I know you the man to talk to.
Bro, I kind of help out with this little monthly
Absolutely
joint called Mic Check at the White Eagle every last Thursday. Come on through. But yo, bro, you know what I mean? We need to try to make something happen.
Let's do it. I think I'm ready, man.
That's what's up.
I think I'm ready.
By the time this drops, we will have had Portland Hip Hop Day. But once again, man, here in the city, it's such a blessing to see folk who've been here for years, like anywhere else, become embraced by their own city, and then to have folk like yourself, but many people who are new to the area, who are talented. I get a little kumbaya-ish, you know what I mean? I always want to see more and more of those collaborations to build the scene. I think that I think that's that can strengthen the scene and help it grow. So looking forward to to seeing you on some tracks on some local cats.
For sure. I think a lot of times when you when you come into a new city, sometimes things can be like very territorial.
Yeah.
People are like, this is my city.
Yeah.
I want you out, Yeah. But the beautiful thing, I think, for artists, and if you don't realize it and your artist is listening, promote your music to the tourists. Promote your music to the out-of-towners.
Yeah.
Because they may be traveling a little more than the people that you just see on the day-to-day within your own city.
Yeah.
And what happens is they take your music with them. They take your name with them to other places they go and shout it out in other places as well. And, being where I'm from, it's like huge college town. It's 7 different schools, 7 different colleges and universities. And that's how a lot of the music got out.
Yeah.
Because kids would come to school and then you hear different songs and then you take that home with you on Thanksgiving and Christmas break and spring break or what have you. But, so far Portland has been all love. And if anything, I blame myself for not doing as much as I could have been doing out here just because I've been very busy.
Yeah.
And I've been traveling a lot as well, which I've been blessed to do that. But, so far, man, it's been all love out here. Like, everybody's cool and chill. And I'm kind of convinced, since weed is legal, folks are just high all the time. And everybody's just like, yo, peace. It's all love. And I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, I think in part it's the responsibility of people like myself who are curators who have these platforms. When we find good people who have talent, artists like yourself. I need to be playing your stuff on the radio show. I need to be trying to connect with you with live events. I mean, you need to be an artist.
Yeah.
And then I need to help do my part, and then collaboratively we just continue to grow.
Man, that's a beautiful. That don't happen everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and
to
a certain degree, it is truly my blessing once again to have this platform and the heart and the energies to be able to do this here, because I realize that doesn't always happen. So.
Man, Klyph, once upon a time, I was making the music as an artist, promoting my own shows, like booking your own shows, doing my own radio show.
Word.
With my man DJ Grandman, and we had Creative Control Radio.
Yeah.
What was this, Podomatic? Like, it's back. I don't even think
Podomatic.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know if that joint's still around no more. But we were doing it all.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I don't think a lot of people kind of have that insight to understand like what it takes to not only just rap, go to the studio and be creative, but there's the other side that comes along with it as well. Putting your shows together and creating your merch and your own website and all these different things. And it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And people don't see that. They just see the music.
Right.
And they
Just
just
the
think,
end
you
result.
just go and you just rap. And
Yeah.
it's like, nah, it's 20 other things that comes along with that as well. So what you're saying is you're making that a lot easier for
Hopefully.
people, man. So
Hopefully.
if you listening, man, hit DJ Klyph up, man. Just make sure your joint same week.
Right. Yeah. Come on.
It's a curator right here.
Exactly. And that's, it's funny, bro, because that is a conversation I've had with a number of artists who have been doing it for a little while. I think there's something to be said for having that experience of promoting the show. Yes, somebody's putting me on the bill, but again, and it's super easy now with social media. Like, oh, I'm performing at, this venue. Let me tweet it out several times a day. I don't have to go hang flyers in the rain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I could throw it up on Instagram. I can, do my Facebook invites. And I think if you don't understand that piece, I would imagine, and as an artist, it would be frustrating when you wonder, how come people ain't going to my show?
Yeah. Yeah, when you go through the process, you're more humble.
Yeah.
When you don't, you feel more entitled.
Yeah.
You have to fall on your face a few times to understand, when people are supporting you, thank them.
Right.
Like it's great to be able to have that support, because, if you're going through things where you truly haven't had it, or I know guys, including myself, that have, done their own shows and paid for venues and they were dud.
Yeah.
Nobody came out and you lost $600-$700 or whatever, and we ain't have it to lose.
Right.
So when you go through experiences like that, I feel it just makes you more humble as a person, and as an artist.
Yeah.
And you don't take anything for granted.
That's what's up, bro. Okay. So switching gears a little bit, because we are more than just the artists. Probably about 3, maybe come up on 4 years ago, bro. I was like, I need to start doing something for my health.
Yeah.
So I started running.
Dope.
Like, couch to 5K, just like trying to learn how to run. You know what I mean? Also going through my research, I saw that you're very involved in running.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what you're doing there.
Yeah, so back in 2008, there was a guy named Jax, who was like a mentor to me, a big brother to me, who was a part of the Atlanta underground hip hop scene, and his crew released some music with Bobbito, and they had their own label that they were doing. And he passed away while he was on stage performing. Just had a cardiac arrest mid-verse, and wasn't able to be resuscitated. Was DOA, and that was a life changer for me, because I was still young, but I realized in the life that I was living, an environment that I was living, we were out every night. Yeah. We were drinking Henny and drinking liquor or whatnot, and we were just living an unhealthy lifestyle. Like, even when I think back to my man Jax, like, we both had an affinity for Wendy's, and we get together, let's go to Wendy's and get the sandwich real quick, and then we go talk about some music. And so you just realize, like, okay, you're living a very unhealthy lifestyle, you're eating bad, we know what organic was, and you're not exercising or working out. So after he passed, that was an eye-opener for me, and I realized that I couldn't continue to keep eating the way I was and not exercising, because I used to hoop, but stopped playing ball when I was young. As I got deeper into music, so I wasn't playing ball anymore. So I decided that I wanted to start a run club. And I decided that I wanted to get into running. Let's start there. Because it was the easiest thing to do without having to have a gym membership. You could just get up and run around your block. And that's what I started doing. And then I realized that I hated it. And I couldn't get far. You're running, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna stop. and you get the fitness tracker in your app, and you're looking at your run app, and you're like, all right, I know I done did 2 miles, and it's like 0.6 miles. You're like, man, that's it. Thought I was further than that by now. So I really hated it. It was hard to run by myself. So I was having some conversations with a guy named Artemis Jenkins in Atlanta, who's dope photographer and just creative, and my guy Maurice Garland, who's another guy who's big in the hip hop scene in Atlanta. And we were just talking, and we were all talking about like, how can we get healthier and more active? And so I just came up with an idea. I said, all right, meet me here on Sunday. And the few of us, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go for a run. And we did that, and it ended up being like 5 of us. I put out the word to just a couple of people, and they all showed up. And we ran 2 miles. And killed ourselves running the 2 miles because we were just getting into it. But we posted the picture of us on Instagram and just said like, hey man, we out here trying to get active, trying to get healthy. And what happened from that is people started saying, well, when are y'all doing it again? I want to come next time. Where y'all meeting at? So then it became like a weekly thing. Like, okay, we're gonna meet every Sunday, this time, this place. And it started growing. And so you got 5 people, now you got 7, now you got 10, now you got 15. You're like, oh wow, it's 20. And so it just started growing, and then I turned it into an official like run club. Because as it started growing, I was like, well, we need a name for this. We need something to call it. And I called it Movers and Pacers. And it just came from, so it derived off movers and shakers, because the people who were coming were they were influencers, and they were creatives, and they were doing something within the scene or whatnot. So that's where the name came from, and it's been going on 4 years now.
Wow, dude.
Next month is 4 years that the crew has been around, and it's in Atlanta. And I'm not there anymore, but the crew still holds it down. Shout out to the captains, and they hold that thing down, and people still show up, and people still run, and it's crazy how having a platform such as like Instagram provides things to so many different people, and you can click on a hashtag and see so many different things you never would have been exposed to. And man, we've had Mario Van Peebles showed up and ran one day, which was crazy. Like, didn't know he was coming. Just heard y'all were running in Atlanta. I'm out here shooting a movie, and he showed up and ran, and we've had Claudia Jordan, who was on the Atlanta Housewives, like she showed up and ran for a minute. So we've had all different people who just they heard about it and decided to come through. So pages on IG, it's Movers and Pacers. If you have in Atlanta, want to go for a run, check that thing out. Out here, there's Mission Impossible, which is a crew that I kind of been running. I haven't been running as much anymore. My knees been hurting, but when I got out here, those were some guys in Portland that I was getting it in with. So yeah, I think it's important for people to just understand, like, yeah, we're hip hop, but like we gotta be healthy too. And we gotta live long, and after Jax, like there's been so many people who I've known personally, like who passed after, my guy Pumpkinhead and Sean Price, and it's been countless others that have died from things they shouldn't have died from at the age that they did. These causes, these are things you used to hear people were 80, 90, and now you got guys who are in their 30s, having heart attacks and having strokes and dying in their sleep. And so for me, I just wanted to take it back into my own hands a little. And I'm not gonna sit here in front like I'm not Mr. Vegan, and I eat burgers and fries and all that stuff too. But for me, it was just like, all right, what can I do to get a little healthier, to get more active? And it came through running. And it's dope, man, because I like to listen to beats while I run and clear your head. And sometimes you come up with ideas or thoughts, and sometimes you could just really get through somebody's album. I'll check out new music while I'm just out for a run, and really motivate you, and then you also just kind of get inspired by the sounds as well. So
that's what's up, bro. I think it's so cool because within our community, within this culture, oftentimes what is, I don't want to say celebrated, I think that sounds too, but sometimes celebrated is unhealthy lifestyles, right? Like you said, I'm staying up all night. I'm not consuming things that are fulfilling to my physical body. And you need to have that balance, because
man, you know what? to that point, we brag so much as artists about not sleeping
Yeah.
and how much we grind.
Right.
And, you know, I know guys that work at different studios. Yo, man, it's 5 a.m. I'm in here working on these.
Right.
I'm going to be back at 9.
Right.
And we brag so much about it.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't sleeping. I'm going in.
Right,
And
right,
you're like, yo, man, you got to sleep. And you going to need some vegetables. And, like, you got to take care of your body. And yeah, you're exactly right, man. We don't promote it through hip hop.
Yeah.
And we brag so much about everything else. And even now, I mean, when you listen to major radio and you think about what kids are hearing, and you think about, you listen to an hour of programming on the commercial dial, you know, how many references to liquor are in there, and how many references to drugs are in there, and all these things. And you're like, it's not, it doesn't help when nobody's kind of putting you onto that, because you're following what you're hearing.
Yeah.
And if you're just hearing Molly Percocet, then you start learning about that.
Yeah.
One of the things for me that I didn't realize impacted me was KRS's record.
Yeah.
Beef.
Uh-huh.
You know, when he literally, he's the first person I ever heard of that was rapping about stuff you shouldn't be eating, and was talking about beef and you know how the cow feels when it's slaughtered. That's in the meat, and that's what you ingest. I stopped eating beef after that.
Yeah.
But you know, we just didn't get enough of that. Like it was like KRS came and gave you that message, and then you didn't hear it really again until Dead Prez came out. It was this huge gap of time. But you know, I don't rap about it. Like I'm not, hey, eat this and use, because I'm not gonna tell nobody how they should. But I think it's good to be enlightened, man. That Netflix documentary that's been floating around, What the Health.
Just seen
got
that
cats.
one,
You just saw that one?
Seen that one.
Everybody's buzzing about that, and it's good, man. It's creating a lot of dialogue where, you know, my lady is like, I'm going vegan. I was like, no, you're not. You're not just gonna stop.
No, you got it.
But it's good to know,
Yeah.
because now you have the opportunity to say, okay, well, it's like, hey, this is bad for me, so let me consume less of that.
Exactly.
You know, if I still like it, I'll consume it, but let me consume less of it, or I'll watch how I consume it. And you know, it's good to be informed,
and just know that you have options. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think that's the big thing, is to know you have options. Because again, I think when you're inundated with it through media, social media, radio, television, you just don't think about it. And we live such busy, and I'm guilty of it, bro.
Yeah.
Wifey's been for several years been like, we should go vegan, and I'm like, and I'm like, now I don't say I'm vegan, I say I'm moving more towards a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to put no label on it, you know what I mean? But I think we do need to have these conversations again, because once again, culturally, those of us who are, you know, more attached to this culture, studies have shown are more susceptible to these preventable diseases: high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer.
Hypertension, diabetes.
So, absolutely. So I think it's cool that you have that you started the Run Club, that is a part of who you are, because when people get to know you through your art and then want to learn more about you, and they, you know, that just, you ain't gotta say it. I always say it all the time, louder than words. I don't need to say it. Just watch me move.
Yeah, I'm gonna give every rapper out there, this is the key.
Yeah.
And this is how you have a dope live show.
Yeah.
Go running.
Come on.
Go running. Practice your verses while you're running, and when you get on that stage, you got an amazing amount of breath control.
Word.
And like, that's the secret. And I can't even remember who put me onto it, but you know, once you realize that, like, I watched that transform like my live performances, because it's like I had wind.
Yeah.
You got wind, and you can really go in when you got that wind. So that's the tip, artists.
There you go.
Run.
I'm sitting here dropping dimes of knowledge on y'all. Man.
Each one teach one.
Bruh, this was dope, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, this is gonna be like, I got your number in my phone now, so I'm hitting you up all the time.
Man, you know, this is it doesn't even feel like a podcast. It's just like us building,
bruh. And that's what but you know what? That's what it's about, man. And you know, when I started having these situations where I sit and talk with artists, and oftentimes, you know, mid conversation, we were like, man, I wish the audience could hear that. that's what this is about, bro.
Yeah.
You know, just come on, letting people come on in.
Yeah,
you know
because
what I mean?
interviews can be, you walk into a Joe Budden situation where you
bruh.
getting peppered and grilled with questions.
Right. Nah,
You're like, man, I ain't come through for that. But
not
it's
at all.
just it's us building, and hopefully folks listening get something out of it.
Absolutely. So once again, man, the most recent release, Dead Stock, is out. You can get it over at the website, either at señorkaos.com, or just go straight to the Bandcamp page.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. And the beautiful thing about music is you put stuff out and people take it and put it other places. So I didn't even have a chance to put it on SoundCloud. Somebody else did it.
That's what's up.
So it's on SoundCloud too, and I do have a page on SoundCloud for people that love it. Señor Kaos is the page, so there's tons of stuff on there as well. There might be a few even promo things that may not be on some other sites. So. Just check it out, man. Discover music, and I hope people through my music discover other people's music, and just discover that there's a whole world that exists out here, and this art form has taken us around the world, and we're out here, we're just making the best music that we can make, expressing ourselves the best way that we can. And, we're not out here asking for handouts or anything. We're just out here to make something that we hope people listen to years from now and get inspired by. There's so many artists who I've been inspired by, or songs I've been inspired by, that most people were like, I've never even heard that before. Don't even know that exists. But it's things that always live within me. And I just want to see that continue. I think it's beautiful when you meet people and not everybody knows the same 4 or 5 artists, and I always ask, like, what you listening to right now? Because I like to hear when people are like, I'm listening to DJ Klyph, and you're like, I don't know him. Let me write that one down. I'm gonna look that up, and that's how we keep exposing each other to this culture, and that's how we keep moving the culture forward.
Absolutely, man. Just expanding the community, which is really, that's what it's about.
Absolutely.
Building.
Gotta be what it's about, because it ain't about the money.
Yeah, no, not even kind of a little bit. Bro, I got a little gift for you, man. Fresh off the line right there. That's the new logo.
With the needle. That's dope.
My gift
super
to you, man.
dope.
Just once again to say thank you so much for coming through, brother. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, bro. Just like I said, looking forward to continuing to build. And we gonna and announcing that Mic Check date.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Señor Kaos headlining Mic Check.
Hey, let's do it.
Man, thank you so much, Kat.
Thank you, man.
Definitely appreciate it, bro. All right, y'all. So once again, remember you can subscribe to the Klyph Notes podcast wherever you get your podcasts: Apple Music, Google Music, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, wherever. But definitely subscribe, listen, rate, and share. And let's just continue to build this community, man. Follow my man, Señor Kaos. Did you throw out the social medias? Were you on social media?
At Señor Kaos, SENORKAOS, and that's across all platforms.
That's what's up, man. Make it simple and easy. Just
Absolutely.
Like that, you know what I mean? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you. And until we get a chance to do it again, check out the website, djklyph.com as well. And also, big ups, thank you to X-Ray FM for providing the space for us to record this. Check out www.xray.fm. Check me out every Saturday night on X-Ray FM in Portland, www.xray.fm, or 107.1 FM, 91.1 FM in the Portland area, or 99.9 FM in Vancouver. And then also big ups to my people over at Acapella Apparel, AKEPELE Apparel, for their support of the Klyph Notes podcast. All right, y'all. Peace.